few weeks ago, I had made a video talking about 5 strategies on COMC that I'm using to make some money. In this video, I'm kind of continuing that with a few other, they're smaller strategies, but there's about 8 here. Additional things you can do on COMC that I'm finding to be quite useful. Let's get into this. Strategy number 1, buy up a whole bunch of cards, of one single card, buy a whole bunch of them if there's a number of them that are all under comps. This happens sometimes on COMC because of what I call the penny battle. Oftentimes, let's say there's a card on there that, let's say it's going on eBay for $8. At some point along the way, somebody put that card up on COMC for $7.50, and then somebody else put it up for $7.49. Sometimes that penny battle can bring the cost down several dollars. You know, for an $8 card might end up selling for $5. This is not too uncommon, but there'll be like 20 of them that are all under eBay comps. But sometimes what I've noticed is there's like 20 of them that are all under eBay comps, a couple of dollars under, and then there's like this gap where, you know, there's like 20 of them that are all, let's say $5, and then the 21st one is $8, which is closer to the normal comp. You could consider going in, if you believe in this card, you know, this is not something to do if it's just a random card, but it has to be a card that you actually believe in. Buy all 20 of those, and then drip sell them. You know, just put 2 or 3 of them back on the platform, but closer to the comp. You can still offer the lowest price. You know, if the next one up is $8, you just bought 20 of them for $5 a piece, sell 3 of them for $7.50. Once those sell, then keep putting the other ones back up on the platform. Now, I can't stress enough, only do this if you think this is actually a valuable card that's either going to stay there or increase in value. If you think there's, you know, it's an obscure player or something and it's going to be going down, or it's a new set and there's going to be a whole bunch more stuff coming up on COMC, you know, I don't think this will work. But if it's a card that's been up there, it's probably got its full population for the most part on there, and there's a solid amount that are under current eBay comps, this is an option. I've done this several times. Don't put them all back up for sale. If you buy 20 cards and you put 20 up for sale, it just doesn't work. If you put 20 cards that are all at that price, but if you put 3, you know, you might get somebody who actually wants to buy all 3, and then you just put another 3 up again. Strategy 2. Now, one thing I've noticed about COMC, you know, on eBay, the changes that happen with values are more up to date. So if you have, you know, a player whose values are going up or going down, eBay sales reflect that generally. You know, somebody's not bidding on an auction that the player has been going, his stock has kind of been going down over time. You know, they're not going to pay what was the price that was 3 weeks ago. On COMC, not everybody is updating their prices quite as much. So since they're not updating their prices quite as often, sometimes if there's a player that has just had a spike, their cards are still at the pre-spike price on COMC for some players. Not always, and you have to look and you have to do your research about that particular card, but this can sometimes happen. So sometimes what I'm doing when I'm looking for a card to buy on COMC, I'm not just looking about a player that I think might have a spike sometime down the road. I look more on players who actually are having spikes at this moment right now and try to find some good cards that the prices haven't changed yet with that spike. For example, just recently, some of Anthony Simons' cards have had a spike. So as soon as I saw that spike was starting to happen, I found some Anthony Simons cards that were really good deals, and I went ahead and scooped them up and then put them right back up on the platform for a good profit. Now, with some of those Anthony Simons cards, it really worked out quite well, because a lot of people started looking for his cards just right after that. Because I tried to do this at the beginning when it was like, okay, he's just starting to have a spike. So that's one thing you can do. Strategy 3. Some people might not like the idea of buying a 30-cent card and selling it for 60 cents or 75 cents, but I am not opposed to that. Now, I'm not going to go out of my way to try to find some 30-cent card to sell for 75 cents, but if I can find 12 or 15 or 20 of a card to buy, and each of them I'm going to buy for 25 cents, and then I can relist them up for 75 cents, and I think that at some point that's a realistic price to sell, I'll do that. I mean, that's a 300% return on investment. And, you know, 50 cents might not seem much per card, but if you do this with a certain amount of quantity, it can add up. And one of the things that, you know, on COMC, if you list cards for 75 cents or under, you don't have to pay a 1 cent per month storage fee. So this kind of means that, you know, if I see a card that's like, let's say it's a cool, I've done this with, let's say, okay, here's an example, with some Hakeem Olajuwon famous nickname inserts from the Fleer set from the mid-90s. I can't remember offhand if it was 94, 95 or 95, 96. Can't remember offhand. But it's the famous nickname insert. answer. At one point I was looking through the recently added section of basketball on COMC, and I saw there was like 12 of them that were listed for like 30 cents each. I was just like, this is such a cool card. Like some people are gonna want that card. So I went ahead and bought up all 12 of these 30-cent cards and relisted them back up for 75 cents. There was a couple other that were still cheaper that were in the 50-cent range or something. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put them back up for 75 cents. That's still a really good deal for somebody. That's still really cheap, and I don't have to pay any storage fees. It didn't take long before those other cards that were like 50 cents and 60 cents ended up being sold. It was just so cheap. So then those cards that I had for 75 cents were the next lowest on the list, and I put like 3 up at a time. Or no, for those ones, since they were so cheap, I think I actually put like 6 of them up at a time, and I sold all 6 of them in one go, and then I put the other 6 up, and those 6 ones sold. And it didn't take anything from me, and it didn't cost me anything to let them sit there for a little while. So even if it took a year for them to sell or whatever, it wouldn't matter. So the way I'd say it, there's no such thing as cards that are too cheap. I'm not personally going out of my way to find cards to buy for 30 cents. I just think it's not, the chance that the amount of profit you're gonna make is gonna be pretty small. But if I'm in the recently added section and I see cards like that, and they seem like the kind of cards that are gonna be selling, and I can look at the data on COMC and see that, oh, this card sells all the time, then it's eventually gonna sell. If you can still sell it for 75 cents, almost any card will sell if it's 75 cents, if it's actually a card that's selling regularly. So yeah, buy a card for 30 cents, buy 20 cards for 30 cents of the same card, sell them for 75 cents, wait, eventually they sell. Strategy 4. Make offers. When you're making offers on buying a card, I would suggest you be realistic, but you can make offers and find some pretty good deals. I mean, when I'm making an offer, I'm not gonna just go down to the lowest possible price that seller has, let's say they allowed their account to go all the way, you can make a 50% offer on the selling price or 25% offer on the selling price. But if I'm making that 25% off offer and it's way below the going price, then I feel like I'm not looking for something realistic. I'm trying to cheat the dude is what it seems like. So instead, what I'll do is I'll look at the prices, I'll see what's going on, and I'll say, okay, what's realistic? What's something that if I was offered, even if it's a little below comps, but if I was offered it, I would really think about it. And that's the offer price I will make. I won't go crazy low, but I'll do something that I would be okay accepting. And one of the reasons I'm thinking this way is because also when I receive offers from others, I usually set up on my account to allow for people to bid or to make an offer of up to 25% less than my selling price. And I do this mostly because, if I haven't updated that card's value in a while and it has gone down, and let's say there was a card on there for $10 that's really realistically now going for $8 or something, and somebody wants to offer me $7.50, that's reasonable. If the card's really going for 10 or it's gone up to 12 and somebody offers me $7.50, I'll just be like, you're just typing in the lowest number you can possibly type. That's not an offer. You're just seeing what's the cheapest thing. But instead, what I appreciate is when somebody kind of sees that maybe they're asking for a 10% discount. Maybe they're asking for 12% discount. They're not trying to get it for the absolute cheapest price possible, but they're trying to get it for a little discount and for a little deal. And I'm okay with offering little deals and little discounts. That's great. If somebody's trying to just get it for the lowest price, then my go back price to them is usually just a tiny bit less than what my original price was. But if they're offering something that's a little bit more reasonable, then I'm much more likely to hit that accept offer button. I don't know if everybody's thinking about that this way, but some people must be. So when I'm making an offer on a card, I don't immediately go to the lowest possible offer price. I think about it a little bit and say, okay, if I was selling this card, if I was in this position, if this person's shoes, I have no idea how much that person put into that card or anything like that. If I was in this person's shoes, what's a reasonable offer that I would accept? And I go kind of from that angle. Strategy 5, this is a really small one. When you are putting cards up for sale for the first time, like you sent cards into COMC from your house or whatever, and you're sending them in there, put cards up for sale at times when there's a lot of traffic on the site. A lot of people are looking in the recently added section, and a lot of my sales on my cards will happen within 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the time they're posted. It's, there's I don't know how many millions of cards on COMC, and once a card's on there, it's hard for people to find it. I mean, if they're looking for a specific player, if they're looking for a specific card, they'll find it no problem. But if they're just kind of wanting to buy something, they don't know what they're wanting to buy, there's so many millions of cards on COMC that they probably won't find the card that you're selling. but in the recently added section, it will be there, at that time. So whenever I've put up cards for sale during times when there's actually a lot of traffic on the website, it's not infrequent that some of my cards end up selling immediately. In fact, that just happened earlier today. I sold a Nick Foles Treasured Moments numbered out of 75 card that I had put up for sale for $90, I think. And it sold in a minute, literally a minute. And that happens a lot. Whenever I have a little stack of 10 cards or something that's uploaded into the system, usually one of them sells within like 10 minutes. It happens very, very often. Okay, strategy 6. This is how you do 6 in China, by the way. I just realized I've gotten so common. It's been so common for me to do that. When there's cards for sale, don't automatically just buy the card that is the lowest price. One thing that I'll oftentimes do if there's a card I want to buy is I go in and I look at the 5 or 6 cheapest. First of all, look for the ones that's the best quality, doesn't have any dings. You want to look as close as possible and make sure the corners are okay, the edges are okay, there's no scratches, as best as you can. But then once you've identified, okay, these 4 or 5 here are all good quality, I want one, don't automatically buy the cheapest card. If the cheapest card is a price you want to buy, and then the next 3 or 4 cards are a little higher than you'd want to buy, but you'd like to buy it at that price for that first one, what I'll oftentimes do is go and make an offer to those next 3 that is right at the price of that cheapest one. Because I don't know about other sellers, but for me, when somebody makes an offer, one of the things I do is I go and look at what the other cards are for sale. If I can see that he's making me an offer to match, what the other lowest card is, or to just go pretty close to what that other lowest card is, I'll probably accept it. If I'm already way lower than anybody else, then I'm like, you're already getting such a better deal from me than you can get from others, so I'm less likely to go down a lot. So when I'm buying, like let's say I want to buy this card, there's one card that's for sale at $5, there's another card for sale at $6, another for $6.50. I'll go to that $6 card and I'll offer $5. I'll offer $5, which is the lowest current sale. And then I'll go to the one that's selling for $6.50 and I'll offer $5. I feel it's reasonable because I can see right there's another card that's selling for that exact price that I could buy right now. So I figure if the seller checks that, they'll also see that and they'll be like, okay, I'll sell it since somebody else is selling it for that same price. I'll go ahead and do that. Maybe they say no, that's fine. And then after they've said yes or no either way, then I'll go and buy the cheapest one on the list. Now I only do this if the cheaper one is cheaper, but not like a crazy good deal. If it's a crazy good deal, then I just grab it immediately. But otherwise, I think this is kind of a nice strategy. It just, because if you buy up that first card, that cheapest card immediately, and then you bid, and then you want to bid on the next 2 cards for that price, they're going to say, oh, I already have the lowest price, I'm not going to go down so much. But if they see, oh, there's another card there for $5, okay, I'll go ahead and sell it for $5. Seems more likely that you'll get it. Strategy number 7. So this one, when you're selling cards on COMC, like you've sent them into COMC and you're uploading them into the system you're gonna sell, sometimes when people do that, they just look at what are the other cards for sale, and then they just price it according to that. Let's say there's another 5 cards on there, the lowest one is priced at $40, and so they say, okay, I put this much money into it, I'll put it up for $35. I'm the cheapest on the platform. But sometimes the actual going price for that card is maybe like $20. Those other 5 cards might all be double price. That happens sometimes on COMC. You can find good deals and you can find other cards that every single card is just a ridiculously bad price. And they're waiting to get what they could have gotten in February of 2021. So if that's the case, don't price your card based on what the other COMC cards are. Price it out closer to what the eBay comp is, if that's, if you're happy getting that amount. If you'd sell it on eBay and you'd be okay with getting $20, then don't go ahead and list it for $35. It's probably just gonna sit there. But if you sell it for $20 and it's going for $20 and you still make the profit you're wanting to make for $20, and then the second lowest card on the platform is $40, when somebody comes into that card and they see, whoa, this card is half the price of the other ones there, it makes you pause. Even if most sellers aren't going to automatically just buy it, because most people will know that there's a good chance all those other cards are overpriced, but it at least causes somebody to pause for a moment to look and to consider that card a little bit closer. If you had priced it at $35 or $38 and then the next 5 are all like $40, your card is about the same price as the others. They might say, oh, that just seems too expensive, and then move on. But if they see that big gap between the cheapest and the next one, it causes some pause. That's the best you can ask for when you're trying to sell a card. If you can cause somebody to pause for a moment and just consider it, then they might make the decision to buy it if they would like to. It just causes pause. If you'd like to see 5 additional ones, I put one of them on the earlier video. I'm gonna try to keep in mind other little things I'm learning as I go, and I'll try to make these little videos occasionally for these kind of little COMC strategies, because the more I use it, the more I'm finding little things. But for now, hope this was useful. Peace.